Welcome back to FoxNews.com Live. I'm Jonathan Hunt. I want to get to Jay Bavisi now. He's joining us via Skype from Albuquerque, New Mexico, via Skype and phone. Jay is the president and co-founder of Electronic Commerce Council, better known as the EC Council, experts in cybersecurity and a Pentagon training partner, a leader obviously in technology, but he's having to use his phone as well as computer for Skyping today, which seems somewhat ironic, Jay, but there you go. I'm glad we've got you at least. Jay, first of all, we're talking about how the US can be victims of hacking here, but I want to flip it for a moment just on what we were talking about with our national security analyst, Katie McFarland. The Egyptian government during these riots accused of shutting down social networking sites like Twitter and Facebook. Can we, the US, and you know the Pentagon, and without giving away any classified secrets, do we have the ability to counter what they're trying to do and, in a sense, hack into their systems and make sure that those social networking sites are available to the protesters?
Well, that's a very good question, Jonathan. Technically speaking, everything is possible in the technical world. So hypothetically speaking, it would be possible to do. However, it is very unlikely, because although they have shut down Twitter and Facebook in the country, all of the access is coming from their local ISPs. So it will require somebody that is highly advanced. It requires a highly planned operation to be able to do that. I frankly think it's highly unlikely.
All right, so what can we do, technically speaking, then, to help those pro-democracy protesters? Is there anything the US can do to, if you like, perhaps not entirely legally, but do something to help them have access to the kind of computers and the technology that they need?
Well, a lot of the protesters are already doing that. They're connecting through proxy servers so that they are rerouting their internet traffic and trying to get access to Twitter and Facebook. Now, when you say what can the U.S. do, there's nothing much the U.S. can do unless you have access to the people and you're able to spread the communication to the people on the ground. But, if that can be done, then obviously they can use proxy servers and try to reroute their traffic and get back. And many protesters have been doing that.
All right, let's bring it back to our own cybersecurity here, Jay. KT has said that before, KT McFarland, our national security analyst with me here in the studio, said before that cybercrime, cybersecurity is the greatest threat to our national security. It's the next war we face. Would you agree that it is a major threat and something we're not doing enough about?
Well, I would say that it is definitely a major threat. I'll not go that far as say that's the greatest threat, because I think we need to look at multiple different threats that the country is facing. Financial crisis is a threat on its own. But I would agree to say that the cybersecurity threat is definitely of national importance, and that we are lagging behind. We are under tremendous attack, and there's a lot that needs to be done.
So let's take a look at some of what you have pointed out are the great threats that we face now. Mobile phone botnet, I've got a list of them here. Mobile phone botnets, killer text messages, Manchurian chips, automobile hacking. First of all, explain those to a Luddite like me.
Let me start by the Manchurian chips, because this is it's a big word, but it's a very simple concept. And the concept is basically you planting a chip in a equipment that you're buying from a foreign national or from a foreign country. Does not necessarily have to be China, although as soon as we speak foreign, everyone seems to think China is the first country. But there are many things that we are buying from so many countries. And if you were to buy a piece of hardware, let's say a computer has got a processor. What if I had a Trojan or had an embedded system in this computer that will allow me to basically connect back to mothership, so as to say, and basically accept a command? It could be shut down the system, it could be send me the data, it could be one of many things. So what we're concerned about when we say Manchurian chips is this ability of foreign powerhouses to be able to own assets in the U.S. by selling them pieces of hardware. And now if we look at Apple, for example, look at the iPhone, look at the iPad. Where are they manufactured? Not in the U.S. And that is the concern that we're talking about.
KT, let me bring you in here quickly. This is one of your pet subjects, right. The risks we face through cybercrime, and you're really very concerned about it.
Yeah, because I think it comes in several ways. The United States is the most vulnerable country to any kind of cyber activity, because everything we do is on computers, it's on the internet, it's on your iPhone, it's electronically. And so any kind of cyber crime or cyber attack, whether it's a military attack on the United States military forces, all of which are run by satellites and computers and the internet, whether it's an attack on the American infrastructure, our electric grid, the water and our municipal supplies, or whether it's something that would be a potential attack against our banking system. If you can't go to if you can't go to the machine and get your cash out, you're kind of stuck. So any one of those things. It's not necessarily a foreign country that would do it. A criminal organization could do it. But my worry is that we're so dependent on satellites, the internet, our computers, and yet we, the civilian economy, we really have very little protection against some kind of cyber attack.
Jay, what more can we do to protect ourselves then as a country and as individuals?
I think, Jonathan, there's a tremendous amount of things that can be done. I completely agree with Katie. Those are very valid concerns. But the concern should be with education. The fact that so many users are connected to all of these technological devices, every time there's a new piece of technology, millions of users run to get it, and, they love gadgets, they love new equipment. The problem is there's very little knowledge as far as information security is concerned. Let's look at typical home users. How many of them actually know how to configure a firewall, let alone know what a firewall is? So these are the concerns that we have, and I think that education is one of the first things that we need to do. We need to educate end users, we need to educate information security professionals at all levels to ensure that we reduce the gap so that we are not the low-hanging fruit that the terrorist organizations or the criminal organizations or foreign nations basically target.
And Jay, you work closely with the Pentagon as part of the training there. Do you believe that we are doing enough at that level, the highest level, to protect ourselves militarily? Jennifer Griffin was telling us the other week, for instance, that there are something like 1,000 attempts to hack into the Pentagon computers every single day. Are we doing enough to combat that?
Well, two corrections. Number one is when you say we work closely with the Pentagon, the word closely is a very loosely defined term. We are one of the certifications on the Department of Defense 8750 directive to help train CNDSP groups within the Department of Defense. So it's a group of computer network defense professionals. So yes, our certification, our training is delivered to members of the Department of Defense all across the country and internationally. However, at the same time, it's not 1,000 probes that the Pentagon is getting. It's probably more like 100,000. So the Pentagon is the actual crown jewel of the hacking world. Everybody wants to get a stake to say, I got into the Pentagon. So we are being attacked tremendously, and that means that we need to have highly skilled professionals that are able to defend, because the attacks are not just from one country, but they are from over 80 countries around the world.
So are they doing enough, though, right now? Do you believe, from your knowledge of what is being done at the Pentagon, that enough is being done? It appears on the surface, at least, that those 100,000 attempts are not working. So one assumes we're doing a good job at the moment.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. In the previous years, the administration has done a tremendous amount of work to improve from where we were. So I think that we are a step in the right direction. However, there's a lot more that needs to be done. I think in the defense community, the awareness is extremely high. I just came back from the Defense Cybercrime Conference in Atlanta, where there were 1,300 information security professionals from all walks of Department of Defense. And they were there for just one agenda, and that is, how do we protect our systems? So there's a lot that's being done. The challenge really is that the hackers are now moving away from the high-stakes attacks to low-stakes attacks. So they're actually trying to go after the end users, and that is where we remain extremely vulnerable, because if we look at the K-12 system, if we look at our mid-school system, there is no requirement for information security education to the young ones that actually need this education. So I think that that's one area that we need to improve. We need to ensure that we embed information security knowledge and awareness right from the bottom level, so that we seed this entire issue and we reduce the gap of us, being attacked.
All right, Jay Bavesi, President and co-founder of the EC Council, the Electronic Commerce Council. Thanks so much for all your insights today, Jay. It's a fascinating subject, and one that no doubt we'll all be returning to over the coming months.